And in this article, the author proposes that their calendar is not a to do list. Well, listen up, Francisco. You're wrong. Your calendar is a to do list. It's actually a to do list that is, probably on average superior than maybe half of the apps out there already. Now, it's probably not the best project management tool or the project management list, which some people tend to blend together. That your project management app can also be your to do list. Doesn't necessarily have to be the case, but it's convenient when it happens. But when it comes to a basic to do list, then yeah, the calendar is amazing, especially if you're using Google Calendar, which is maybe not the greatest implementation of it, but it's really great starting point. And then what's even actually what's truly ideal is using a new app that came out called Agenda. By I think if you Google Agenda.io or Edu Agenda, um, you'll see it come up. But again, no affiliation, just a fan of the app. But they kind of take the calendar as a to-do list to the next level. So I'm just going to go over this article real quick and just kind of debunk it, and then challenge you at the end to say, hey, if you really want to try it out, you can use Google to kind of do a test run, Google Calendar as your to-do list, and then if you want to take it to the next level with a new app, a dedicated app that takes the calendar system and kind of puts it on the forefront in terms of your productivity and your to-do list management, then try that. Edu Agenda. But let's run through this real quick. So um, he has another article using email as if it was a to-do list, which I agree. Like it's kind of janky, real quick. And Yeah, studies show that searching in your email is actually faster than having a complicated folder system. Um, from my recollection, it's probably not that much of an improvement, but it's definitely enough to say, hey, if you have a solid, halfway decent internet connection, searching your emails for that particular folder or file or email is probably better than having a complex system. But again, so I'll give him that. But he uses it as an introduction for this guy. Um, Same thing with calendar, that it's not practical and it's not really worth it. And it had this picture of a calendar here that I don't know if it's actual real snapshot or probably something he made up, but yeah, this is, I don't know. I don't know if it's supposed to prove something or not, but um, here are the top reasons that he lists. Seven top reasons. Um, One, you do not know how long a task will take. You think you do, but you don't. Uh, no, duh. Um, I don't know about if 9 out of 10 times you're going to be wrong, then you might want to. There might be another problem with your personal expectations. But even if you use the perfect to-do list manager and the perfect project management software, yeah, you're still not going to be able to get a better sense of how long a task will take. You're you're always going to be off by a little bit. Some than others might have a better sense of the work, and if you know the nature of your work, you've been doing it for years, and you're pretty solid, then yeah, you actually will do pretty well with estimating the time of the work. But it's never going to be perfect, no matter whether or not you use a calendar or not. So that's really, that's a mute point. A calendar is a source of frustration. I don't know. Is it? Maybe for you? Um, he says at the end of the day, you only have finished 3 of the 7 tasks included in this calendar. This on a daily basis undermines anyone's morale. Again, how is that different from an actual to-do list app? If you have a list of to-do list items at the end of the day, and it's in a actual app like Asana or Todoist, or even Trello, no matter what the fancy layout is, whether it's a board style or if it's like a traditional style and format, we are rarely going to hit 7 out of 7. But that's what you shoot for. And again, it's a personal thing where people tend to that's almost like extension number one, where you kind of have to guesstimate, estimate. It's a half art form, half science, where you tell yourself what you're going to try to shoot for by the end of the day. And I tell you this much: if you get everything done at the end of the day, every single time, you're not shooting far enough. This should be a stretch thing. If you're getting 7 out of 7 tasks every single day, I don't know, man. There might be something up. You might be short changing yourself and what your output should be. Maybe the nature of your job might be a little too easy for you, and you're kind of just shortchanging yourself. Maybe you should up it a little bit. But if you're always falling short, that's normal. If you're doing 1 out of 7, then there might be cause for concern there too, on the other extreme. So this whole thing of the calendar is a source of frustration. It's like, man, depending on it's really on the individual's ability to estimate the nature of their work. Um, to keep the calendar updated requires a lot of work. No freaking duh. But so does it. So does a to-do list. I mean, if anything, it's easier to maintain a calendar than a to-do list because you're dealing with a tool set that has multiple layers and where the calendar is a little more streamlined. It's a little simple. Actually, a calendar is 9 out of 10 times way more likely to be cross-platform, and most calendars also have an email client that's attached to it. So if anything, you can attach. Even now, calendars have features where you can attach documents and put notes in there and reminders. And so it's like, same management. So yeah, keeping up with your calendar requires a lot of work. That's a given. Um, Calendar is a source of stress. Um, I don't know, man. Again, how is this different from apps? I mean, it's really not so much the app or calendar is a source of stress. Is what are you putting into the calendar? If you're stressing yourself out in the calendar, then there's two things happening. One, you're putting too much baggage or too much stuff in your day, and you're not prioritizing right. You're in a busy season, or you're not really focusing on the key factors. You're putting everything that's urgent and not important there, and just really setting yourself up for failure in terms of your psyche. Because yeah, you're making the calendar stressful, not the actual calendar. It's not a source of stress. If anything, you throw in some. Actually, it could be a source of freedom because at the end of the day, you clock out. That's it. It's a signal like, hey, you got to take this. I know some people uh, put in the calendar to take a 5-minute break to breathe, to do some breathing exercises. Um, and they even hyperlink. I know I do this in the calendar. The description they have a hyperlink to a YouTube video that has some nice background music that's calming and soothing. So you can literally have that as a recentering tool. I don't think many to-do list apps can do that in terms of your day. So that's I don't know. Number four doesn't seem to be flying with me. Number five, you never see the end of the tunnel. Um, Listen, when you're working at a job, especially if you're in this economy, information management and work, digital work, is becoming pretty much it's the norm now. You find yourself wearing many hats and different projects. You never see the end of the tunnel. Well, that's on you. You uh, you determine which hat you're wearing, and that's the thing you're working on at that time, and that's it. So when it comes to that time being over, boom, we're switching to the next hat. I mean, you have to Um, Take ownership. There's multiple tunnels. I know when I was working at a university, I was on various committees and I was on various uh, initiatives and partnerships, and I was an advisor to a student club, and so I created themes for my day, and I did my work for the committee. As I took it as far as I can take it on the Thursdays, because every Thursday, any free time I had on Thursday, in between meeting students, that was my day to catch up on the committee work. And once that day passed, that thing passed. That's it. Until next Thursday, I wasn't really looking at that thing. And so you never see that in the tunnel. That's on you. That's how you set up your days. And he mentions there's a little typo there, but um, uh, you don't know how many tasks you have still or left to finish on a given project, no matter how many colors you use to identify different types of tasks. A task is not the equivalent of a gap in the calendar. No, duh. May require many gaps on different days and in different sizes. Again, I don't know how this is like a thing. Um, uh, I don't think it even applies really. You live in a situation of permanent crisis. This goes back to number 4. Like if you got, if you live in this, if you live in a situation of permanent crisis, that has nothing to do with your calendar being a problem. It has everything to do with you taking control of your work, managing the expectations of your managers, and you getting a hold of what's most important in your role for the company or your business. That's on you. That's on you. Nothing to do with the calendar. You don't know if you'll be able to do the task at the scheduled time. Come on, man. No one ever claimed that the calendar is a complete organizational tool itself. I don't think anyone has ever claimed that. And the fact that you don't know if you'll be able to do the task at the scheduled time doesn't change the fact that you can't. It's going to change. That's going to change if you use an app for a to-do list or pen and paper, even. What if I write it down? It's going to. I'm going to. I am. I know that I'll be able to do the task at the scheduled time. If anything, um, the calendar enhances your ability to determine whether you're able to do the task at the scheduled time. Because there's a really cool thing with calendars. You can click and drag and move things around as they come up. And when your manager drops something on your lap that has to get done ASAP, you look at your calendar and you see the meetings that you have, and also visually the tasks that you have. And then in one interface, you can determine, do I have to cancel the meeting or should I defer this task in light of this new urgent thing that my boss is making me do? So if anything, you probably get an enhancement faster in a visual context that you can, if you're able to do the task at the scheduled time. So Francisco, appreciate the effort. Thanks for sharing your opinion. It's a blog. You can say what and do whatever you want. But my friend, I don't know if you could be more wrong on this because everything you said has so much more to do with the person, what they know about time management, work management, energy level management, focus, mindfulness, and setting priorities, understanding the season that you're in at the job. Um, uh, Strategic timelines. Are you familiar with your director's goals and how your things fall in line with your director's goals and how that is a litmus test or the priority um, um, filter to help vet what's going to take priority? All those things are the true basis of this. It has nothing to do with your calendar. So that's this is Joy Lopez signing off, letting you know you can use a calendar as a simple to-do list manager. Probably not a project manager if you're managing a team and all that stuff, but a personal to-do list manager, I think it could totally work. Thanks. Have a great day.